Hi everyone, thank you for joining. This is pretty much the first video of this YouTube channel, and it'll be the first video of a series, future videos that I'll be making, mainly focusing on uh, satellite imagery and how we can utilize open source satellite imagery that is satellite imagery that is free, open source, and available to the public. The reason for this is that I sometimes feel that since we live in the information age, we have just a lot of conflicting information online, be it from the media or from whatever we read online from different sources, and uh, with the prevalence of AI, sometimes information online can be a bit more confusing, uh, than providing objective accounts of what's happening. So, just to preface this, my name is Daniel. I was trained in geography. I did a master's in geomatics with a focus on remote sensing. All remote sensing basically is being able to analyze the Earth with the use of sensors that are on board these satellites. And this is essentially what I'll be doing in this YouTube channel. Um, so what I want to do is I want to look at current world events, whether it be war, or whether it be some sort of uh, the environmental theme, so that we can make, ourselves informed decisions. This channel is not supposed to be, an all in all uh, objective truth. What I want this channel to be is for people to become aware that these resources are available so that we can go in and take a look at them, and then we can make our own we can draw our own conclusions from what we see, and so that we are better informed. And so what better way than to do it with satellite imagery, right? Because again, the way we interact with the world nowadays is through the internet, through the media, and thinking that the media is the truth, I think it's just a very, very dangerous way to live. And so I hope that through this we can, take a look at what's actually happening on the ground and be able to then, corroborate with the media, with other sources, if that's the case or not, and that way we can draw our own, conclusions. Now, there are some limitations to this, of course. You can't see everything with this open source imagery, but we'll be able to see quite a bit for sure. Um, you know, I truly believe that open source satellite imagery is underutilized. The way the remote sensing sector has developed, and with the advent of AI, it tends to be very focused um, uh, on commercial satellite imagery, and so it may feel very out of reach to people, right? When you talk to someone about satellites, it's something that they're like, satellites, like that's too complicated or that's out of reach because it probably costs a lot of money. And the truth is that it doesn't. There's a lot of free resources um, that are created, that were created by either, we're going to be exploring at two resources here. One is NASA, and the other one is the Sentinel-2 Explorer. Even though this explorer was made by Esri, Esri is the leading company in geographic information systems, which is basically a mapping system. Sentinel-2 is a satellite that was launched by the European Space Agency. And these satellites were really launched to be able to get a better grasp on our planet and the resources, and to be able to monitor it so that we can make better decisions going into the future. So that's really my aim for these videos. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to structure them, but I know I'll be focusing on current world events. And if we can see it through the lens of satellite imagery, then we'll be taking a look at that. So this week in focus is the war in the Middle East, Iran, and their surrounding territory. In the media, we've been seeing a bit of accounts um, of direct strikes by Iran on the Gulf states. And and you see headlines about retaliating, and we even have here about mapping the damage. Probably do it with satellite imagery, which is kind of cool. Haven't taken a look at it. Maybe I'll take a look at that. We kind of get this very high level uh, reviews, maybe some more in detail, of course, depending on you know on the news outlet, and then we kind of get to see images on the ground, but we can't really grasp the magnitude. Here we see satellite images here, probably commercial, um, but we could take this and then we'll see maybe why this might be happening. Why aren't they retaliating? Um, we'll get to see that. So the first thing I want to do is go to NASA's worldview. NASA's worldview is a really neat application to be able to take a look at the Earth as a whole. It Right now we're leveraging a satellite called MODIS. MODIS is what we call a far Earth orbit satellite, which basically means that it's just further away from Earth. And in turn, we have a lower level of detail on the ground, but we're able to get more coverage, right? So MODIS is able to get daily Earth coverage, so we can get a daily view of Earth. And we can explore a bunch of layers that help us really understand uh, different aspects of Earth, right? From fires to ash plumes, vegetation, shipping, and all these things. So right now I have the fire and thermal anomalies, and I really like this layer to be able to detect either, forest fires, etc. But it's also really useful for detecting, other things like strikes on infrastructure, especially oil and gas, right? Because once this infrastructure is attacked, then they're likely to cause big fires. Um, so we're going to be taking a look at some of these. So the first one we want to take a look at is this one. We really want to try to understand from this whether this is, result of normal operations or whether this is not normal operations. Just by looking at the smoke, I can kind of already tell that this probably isn't normal operations, but again, we don't want to make assumptions. I'm not here to make direct claims. We're just here to look at the images and then we can draw our own conclusions. So here we have a neat section where we're able to see and select the images on different dates. The nice thing about this satellite, even though it doesn't provide um, daily updates, uh, because the satellite doesn't travel as far away from Earth as MODIS, right? So it cannot provide the same coverage, but it does provide a higher level of detail. We have updates every, I think, 4 to 6 days. And over here, we have the renderer. And the renderer, all that it means is that these satellites have different sensors on board. Um, and we can use these sensors in isolation or in a combination to get different visualizations of the surface of the Earth. So here we see the smoke. We can use the shortwave infrared to get just a bit more confirmation on the fire anomaly and where these things are happening. It's really interesting when we look at Google Maps and we start seeing where these attacks are actually happening because it kind of gives us an insight into how the Iranians are thinking and yeah, how they're really approaching this conflict. Because we've always kind of, I'm sure we've always kind of thought that the West was very powerful, etc. But yeah, there's a way to really engage with this infrastructure in a way that can be very damaging without really attacking the main parts of the infrastructure, right? So you would think that maybe an attack you would want to attack the complex, but actually, the way they're engaging here is that they're actually attacking the oil extraction or the gas extraction. Again, I'm not an oil and gas expert, but I can tell that this is probably where they extract it from underground. And we see that the fire anomalies are happening right here at these pipelines. So what a better way to, really cut access to the resource by going straight to the source, right? You don't really need to attack the main, um, the main complex, because in a way it's it's this tug of war where it's like attacking indirectly, right? You're attacking directly but indirectly, right? Because you're not really attacking civilian or infrastructure. Uh, it makes, I feel like it makes it more of a hesitation for retaliation, right? And again, I mean, it's not the only reason why they're not retaliating. If you take a look at the map between Iran and here the Gulf states, Iran is heavily just very heavily mountainous. There's just very a lot of different compositions. Here it's very bare. There's not a lot of coverage. It's a lot easier to engage in, I would think direct attacks. It's just very hard, uh, and it's not, it's just very complicated. So we see an attack here on, I think it's an attack. Again, you can draw your own conclusions. We see here on the pipeline infrastructure, and we can go and kind of corroborate this with other to see if we see a pattern, right? What we're looking for is a pattern. We're trying to discern what's really happening, right? That's the whole point of this. So I'm gonna go over here because the other fire anomaly is right over here. We see a couple of fire anomalies here. This is from May 5th, so very recent. I mean, this is today as I'm filming this video. Gonna go here. This is from May 2nd, so we'll see if it's still active. I think it should be. Yeah, see, we see the anomalies here. We see here, one here. So we go back to Google Maps, we'll see again, right? We'll see the pipeline infrastructure out here, right? I think it's literally that one. Okay, no, it's that one. It's right. So it's somewhere here potentially, maybe this one here in the middle. There's something here in the middle. Potentially the Google Maps satellite image is not up to date. There might be something here now that was built recently. We'll go back. This does kind of look like normal operations. You can see kind of the difference between this smoke plume and kind of what's happening here versus these other sites. But here we get a bit more intensity over here. Let's take a look at this, and we're gonna go see now over here, and we'll see that we see the pipeline infrastructure. So same pattern that we saw on the other site. Now we'll go take a look at the third site over here. Just gotta find my bearings. There we go. Can try to identify it with this kind of loop. Looks like an F1 track. Zoom in. There we go. Come here, and we see here two. So we see one over here. Again, directly on the pipeline infrastructure, and we see one to the right of this. What do we get? We get the same kind of infrastructure, right? The extraction wells. And you can see here, I think this is fire. So this is what I would consider normal operations, right? If we get a fire anomaly like we saw further up north, that looks more controlled. I would expect that to be normal operations. But I mean, this to me does not look like normal operations necessarily. Anyway, I can't make a clear like a clear decision here, but based on what we've seen, it does look probable that these are not normal operations, that they are attacks. Let's go back. We'll maybe take a look out here. I was kind of exploring this before making this video, and I saw there was a fire anomaly here on the third. This island here is another kind of oil gas asset here. See a bunch of storage tankers. We see kind of the same infrastructure where we get the pipes. So if we look at here, I would expect maybe here out here. I don't know what this is. Take a look at Sentinel-2. Let me just get my bearings. There we go. We're gonna take a look from May 2nd, so it should align sort of. Yeah, we get the fires right here, right next to the storage tankers, a bit further up. So here, right? We see the infrastructure again, same infrastructure that we were seeing at the other sites. Let's go back here. We'll go back to May 5th. We'll go a little bit further north because I also noticed this right here. This seems to be other like oil and gas developments. We'll take it a bit further up. Try to find those kind of little islands here. We have an image from May 1st here, so it's not as recent. Hopefully we'll get an update, either today or tomorrow. Yeah, so this to me seems like normal operations. This was May 1st. Let's see if that fire anomaly kind of disappears at May 1st or before. Let's go in April, see if it disappears then. Still present. Okay, no present there, no present there. It's a lot of cloud here, so it might be because of that. Yeah, so I'm no longer seeing it. We're seeing it here. This could very well be just normal operations. We see here, you can see how the controlled heat signature, right? It's just a little dot. It's a bit more controlled, which makes me think that it's just more normal operations. So that's all I wanted to show for this video. I think it's really interesting to keep an eye here, keep an eye out here, to get an understanding of the continuation of this conflict. So I think I'll be continuing to cover it as we go. So definitely stay tuned, and thanks for watching.